Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in this video, I'm just going to cover my gear and some of the reasons why my DPS is a little bit higher than some of my subscribers. A few of you have been asking, even when you follow the video and how to do some of my boss fights, why you can't achieve the same damage range as I can. And so hopefully this video will shed a little bit of light on the situation. So first of all, we're just going to demonstrate my top win team, and we're just going to show my equipment as well as the Grasta equipped. Now I will say Grasta is very, very important in achieving a lot more damage because the addition of all those percentages make a big difference. Now in the case of Mariel, the Grasta I've equipped are all life Grasta just to enhance her HP as well as increase her regeneration if I put her to the back. Also note that the weapons I choose or the gear I choose and the badges I choose are all accentuating some of the needs I have for her. For example, making sure she's as fast as possible for switching in VCs. Now in case of most of my DPS, I use a 20-20-30 elemental Grasta setup. And I know there are different reasons for using this versus, for example, max HP increased damage. But I'm more comfortable with this because the damage will always be pretty consistent as opposed to in some boss fights where you may not be able to maintain full HP. Now, in the case of Tsukiya, you can see that she is equipped with the Adamantium Katana, and I'll touch base on that a little bit later in this video. But again, same thing with the Fire Grasta, 20-20-30. So keep in mind, with 3 Grastas on my team, that's essentially 70% more damage I can deal than someone with no Grasta. So if you haven't already finished Eastern or started farming Garrelia, that's really important because Garrelia is the only place to really get those tier 3 30% Grastas. Now in the case of Amy, here's why I'm equipped with her, and the reason why I am using Bulk Faust is that I usually use her triple down as her main attack, and it's a non-type or non-elemental attack. So non-elemental basically is a non-colored attack, and this increases at max level 50% damage. Note that Tsubami is using Dark Spirit Claws. First of all, it increases her speed, and more speed equals more hits in AF, so keep that in mind as well. And of course, it also increases her type attack, so her Raging Cat Dance can do additional damage. And so, what I want to illustrate here is that when you look at the stats of a weapon, that is the sword icon as well as the staff icon, the power and the intelligence boost, the stats aren't always telling the story as to which weapon to pick best. So, you want to pick weapons that help enhance your character's strengths and minimize their weaknesses. Now, in the case of Likido, you can see that I added that particular claw to help increase his stun when he uses that stun attack. And in the case of Serene, note that this weapon is a lot less attack power than her other weapons that I have up above, but because it increases type attack by almost 25%, her overall earth damage is much greater than if I increased and put on a weapon that does not have a type attack increase. So, like I said, note here again, another example. Tsukiya is using the Adamantium Blade, which increases type attack, which is her fire attack, by 25% for all katana users. Now, in the case of Crescent Shadow, note that the attack base power is increased by 30, but if you do some battle testing and some battle damage analysis, you'll note that overall, using an elemental weapon is much more efficient, especially when you have a high boost on some of these elemental weapons, which is from all the endgame content. So, if you haven't already crafted an adamantium weapon, make sure you check out one of my videos as to how to obtain one. And then you can either decide on your own or search Reddit or some other forums to decide which weapon to go with. And again, like I had said earlier, Mariel has the Purity Staff, which is for speed increase because, like I said, I use her to either heal first or, in the case of VC, to switch her out quickly before the boss has a chance to act. Alright, so just going through everything here to show the rest of the gear. Note that manifest weapons are obviously really, really important. Now, our next thing we're going to talk about is Valor Chants. And remember that in the case of Suzette's, she boosts power and int by 30% for 1 turn. So I know all of you have probably known how to use Valor Chants at this point. Bring someone in, boost your team, and attack like crazy. Now there's a little bit more nuance to that as well. So you want to plan which Valor Chants will do best in certain situations. Now, of course, with Sukiya, I've also illustrated in previous videos that she decreases the slash and fire resistance on the enemies by 1 turn, which obviously enhances her as well as other slash, sword, or katana users. Now, Amy is a really good free character, and one of the reasons why is not only her triple down and moveset, the fact that she can boost power and speed for 1 turn is very amazing. Like I said earlier, more speed during AF means more hits. That means your bar will boost faster and stay higher for longer. And keep in mind that when you do combine Valor Chants, like say you move 2 or 3 characters in and out, if you have characters with different boosts, all of them will really stack in different ways, giving your team a major enhancement, as opposed to, for example, having 2 Valor Chants with just power, where there's a diminishing returns effect where the second boost is not as powerful as the first boost. And if you look at some of your other 5 stars that may not be used as much, sometimes you'll use some of these Valor Chants. For example, power of the enemies down, as well as physical resistance down for the enemies as well. Keep in mind that physical resistance down 20% equals you damaging them by approximately more than 20% extra. So, and it obviously for, in this case, another power and speed, just like Amy. Now, in case of powering down the enemy, in tougher bosses, you want to use these Valor Chants not only to deal more damage in the case of decreasing physical resistance, you'll also use it to protect yourself from dying by powering down their physical attacks. For example, a good example of that is obviously Karakuri in Guerrilla, or near the end part of the eastern region is one of the sub bosses. Without powering him down, he will wipe the floor with you. Alright, so let's bring some of these concepts into action. Now, the first battle we're going to do is we're just going to do a few different battles against level 10 Zami. And I'm just going to demonstrate some different concepts and see what kind of different damage regions we can do. And I'm going to start the moves approximately the same way. So we're going to do, obviously, the standard first turn against enemies that use elemental attacks. We're going to cast Aurora Force, as well as Matsukunda. And that will obviously debuff the enemies so that you don't get hurt as often. Note that I'm applying Culmination Winds, as well as the Demonic Thrust first, because we're going to do a turn 3 AF. That means turn 1 and 2 we're going to set up and bring in at the end of turn 2 with Mario switching, and then do a bunch of damage with AF. In this case, we're going to bring Sukiya. So in this first demonstration, I'm just going to do multi-hits without using her Howling Surge. And Howling Surge, again, if you don't know already, is a move that decreases physical resistance on the enemy by 50%. So obviously, you essentially deal 50% more damage, which is quite a bit. And obviously, I also cast High Wind Booster. So we're dealing about 2.2 million, and of course, Sukiya died. And that's usually where people force restart the game. Now remember I said that Grasta are very valuable in dealing a damage. I'm going to spend some money and, for the sake of my subscribers, and demonstrate what it's like without Grasta. So those were 300k git each to remove. And obviously it doesn't cost anything to re-equip. So anyways, no big deal. Hopefully this will show you what it's like when you don't have any Grasta, or even some lower end Grasta. So we're going to try approximately the same moves. In this case, I'm starting with Sukiya up front. Azami doesn't really deal enough damage to kill you within the first couple of turns, being that the first turn is an int down, and the second turn is just a 2-hit wind slash attack. So we're going to start with a debuff with Matsukunda, and we're going to start with the 2-hit Scalding Serenade, and then turn 2 we're going to do the High Wind Booster as well as the Howling Surge. Now if you're wondering why there is different placement of the characters, that's also very important. The reason why I have Morgana up front as spot 1, as well as Sukiya in slot 2 is by those two being in front. During AF, if you happen to need to cast the Howling Surge or the High Wind Burst first, the effect of that is faster than if you put them in the back where they may not act right away. I hope that makes sense anyways. So, when you rotate in AF, you make sure that you rotate into a slot where the benefits of your AF move or your VC affects the whole team before that particular character acts in the case of Azami. For example, laying the culmination winds before Suzette in the AF. Alright, so I've re-equipped my Grasta here, and we're going to do it with the Howling Surge coming in. So what I mean by that is we're going to still do the VC, which obviously applies the fire debuff as well as the slash debuff, and instead of doing her 2-hit combo during the AF, we're going to cast Howling Surge on turn 1 and then do multi-attacks. Now, I wanted to demonstrate here in that the damage difference is not as much as you would think from the first example. So the first example, I believe I did about 2.19, and this one did about 2.4-ish. And of course, during AF as well as attacks, keep in mind that critical hits are obviously some variance as well. So if you're a little bit luckier than average, you'll do a little bit more damage, and if you're extremely unlucky, you'll do a little bit less damage as well. So, if you're very close to winning a battle, for example, and you can consistently generate around that same amount of damage, you might want to retry a couple of times because the extra 1 or 2 critical hits could make the difference between your slim victory and a slim defeat. Also keep in mind that some of the reasons why the damage wasn't as big as of a difference is because when I cast Howling Surge during AF, you actually lose 1 turn of her hits. And each hit that you land on an enemy, of course, powers the AF bar just a little bit. And if you hit an enemy that's weak to your attack, then you power up the AF bar quite a bit more. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention that is that, remember earlier on I mentioned that speed helps you land more hits, which will help keep the power of your AF bar on. In the case of less hits starting before the AF is activated, you just have less of bar to activate. So you literally have less chances to generate a lot of damage. If you can't compare some of my hits with Suzette, for example, right there, it does a lot more damage. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.